So in today's video, we're going to be working on trying to get our gravity sorted for our cube so that when we go eventually move our cube off of one of the edges of our platforms, it actually falls down. And then eventually we'll add like a trigger box underneath it that will actually trigger the game or the level to restart. Or I don't know if we're going to restart the level or we're just going to reposition the cube back onto the starting point. So if we restart the level, we're going to have to go and pretty much return's not the right word, but reset everything in the level. So later on, if we have platforms that move, for example, we're going to have to reposition them back into their starting place. If we have platforms that go up and or down, we have to go and reset those. So in today's video, we'll just work on probably repositioning the cube back into the start location, and then later on we will work on resetting the entire level. So let's go and do that, and then we can work on something else. I did say, no, in the previous episode, I did say that I was going to work on the gravity. So we're going to start with that. And then once we've done the gravity, we can go and work on the trigger for the restarting level. So on our cube, there is this use gravity tick box that we can use in the rigid body, but that doesn't work the way we want it to work. So you can see at the moment now I've unticked it, so we don't have any gravity. So you can play the game. All you have to do is stand on that button, which moves that yellow platform into position and then allows you to end the game. We haven't done the end screen yet for each level, but what you could do is you could tick the use gravity button or tick box, but then we get this error or this whatever this is. Who knows what that is? And then the game just, like, you can't really do anything because then the cube just disappears. You can see it go off into the distance over here. So let's go and create our own gravity. So I don't really know if there's going to be a final version of how we're going to implement the gravity, but it's something I've come up with in the meantime that we could probably use to get the game working. So it's quite simple. I think it's only one line of code. So we're going to make a gravity simulator script. And then in this script, we're just going to add one line of code. So we are going to need a reference to our rigid body. So on our gravity simulator, let's just go and move these two into our scripts folder, which is there. Okay, so on our gravity simulator, let's open that up, and then we can get rid of our start method. We're going to need a serialized field. This is going to be our rigid body. I hate when it does that. Rigid body. Okay, so now we save that, and then let's just drag that in. So this should be attached to our cube, which it has been, and then we can just drag that into there. So that gives us access to our rigid body. So now in our update method, we can use that rigid body to add some kind of downward force to simulate the gravity. So let's go and say rigid body dot add force, and then the force is going to be vector 3 because it's going to be downward force. So vector 3 dot down, I think it is, yeah, down. And then we also need a force mode. So let's do acceleration and see what that is, because that should accelerate it over time. Not that we don't really need that, because the trigger box that is going to reset the entire level is going to, okay, so clearly that doesn't work. But what am I trying to say? The trigger box that will add underneath the level, so when the cube collides with it, is going to be so close that we don't really need to have the acceleration. So let's just go and say force over there, and we'll save that, and then let's just check and see what this looks like. So I don't expect this to work. Okay, so let's go onto our cube and let's just see where our box collide is. So that's over there. Okay, so that's fine. what we might have to do is we might have to later on, when actually, do we have a platform detector script? Yes, we do. So in here, if we are on, we'll do this later, not in today's episode, but for now, let's go and disable this. Where is it? Oh, it's on the cube. So for now, what we're going to do is we'll somehow have to only allow our force to act, or to only pull our cube down when we are not on a platform. So we have got here on our platform detector script a few if statements to tell us which platform we're on. So we've got a start point, endpoint, and then our normal platform. So when we are on these platforms, and we've got a teleporting platform. So when we are on these platforms, we can go and set our force to nothing, because we don't want the force to pull it through the platform. So first of all, I'm just going to times our downward force by 2, just to give it some kind of force, and see if that actually makes a difference. So let's go back and put that back on. And then let's see if this works. Okay, so that doesn't work. Now I'm just going to lift up our cube a little bit just to see if it has got something to do with that. No, okay. Let's go, one last thing we should try. Let's go to our prefabs and our start point. Now, let's see. Okay, maybe that's why. Let's go and reset our collider, and let's just play the game and see if that works. No, okay. Clearly, we need to look into that, because that I have been working on it in the other game, and it does work. So I'll look into that and try and figure out why that's not working. But for now, let us go and try something else. So we can get rid of that downwards force, because clearly that didn't do anything. And now let's go to our platform detector script. And in here, we are going to make a boolean. Actually, we're going to do that in our global script. So in our global, let's create another boolean, or for our first boolean, say public static boolean, and this is going to be called, what are we going to call this? Is on platform. And I'll set that equal to true, because we are, at the start of the game, we go and position our cube onto one of our platforms. So we can go and hopefully this will work, but this will only really be a temporary fix. So let's go and say, when we collide with our teleporting tag, let's go and say it needs to be global dot is on platform, and set that to true. To be fair, I don't really think we have to do this, because we only really need to reset it when we're not on a platform. And saying that, we have no way of detecting if we're on a platform or not. Actually, that's not true. We only have a way of detecting if we're on a platform. We don't have a way of detecting if we're not on a platform. So what I'm trying to do here is not going to work at all. So let's just go and delete that, scrap that idea. And you know what? Let's go and create that trigger box. So let's go and create an empty object. We'll reset this back to 0, 0, 0, and then we'll just drag it straight down somewhere like that. Doesn't really matter where it is. We'll put it at -4. And then on this box, we will add in a collider. So this is going to be a box collider. And then we can edit this, make it smaller. And the size is going to be about 10 by 0.2 by 10. So that should give us a big enough cube or square type shape to allow our cube to fall down. So when the cube falls down and triggers this box is we're going to call a method that will tell our cube to go back to the start position. So let's go on our game object. We can say level restart trigger. Okay, and then on this we need to create another script, or do we want to do it on our, let's see, where's our cube? Do we have level manager? We should have a move to start method. Okay, so we do have a move to start method, which is fine. So let's go and do this in a new script, and we'll attach that to our level restart trigger here. So let's go and call this restart trigger. And then we'll create that, and then we'll add in first of all, we need to take the isTrigger box here so that we can use the onTrigger method. So let's open this up, and then we can probably get rid of all of that. We don't really need any of that, I don't think. Actually, what we will need is a reference to our level manager. So level manager. Okay, so that should give us access to that position back to the start, or move to start method, that whatever it's called. So here, let's go and say on trigger enter, and then we can say if the other dot game object dot compare tag is equal to global dot cube tag, then we can go and say level manager dot move to start. Okay, so we'll save that, and let's just give this a test. So I don't know if this is going to work, because okay, so I think it is working, but actually let's just do this. Okay, so this is going to be difficult to figure out if it's working or not, because the way that, actually no, this is definitely working, because if we disable that, you can see that our cube will eventually just disappear out of the scene. Okay, so now if we go and play the game again and take that box, I believe it shouldn't disappear out the game. It should just loop constantly. But I feel like it's going to eventually get tired in doing that. And that's exactly what it does. Okay, so right now we don't have any way of figuring out if that's working. So on our cube, let's try and figure out what we can do. So let's go to our move script here and see what we're doing. So we've got a method for sliding, and we have our update method. Okay. Now, platform, let's see, gravity, animation button, cube, game manager. Oh, we have a gravity script. Maybe that's why. I'm just going to delete the script, because maybe that is where our issue is coming from. But I doubt it, because I don't think we're using the script anyway. So let's go and delete that script. Compile the game, see if we get any errors, which we don't, and let's just play the game and see what happens. We should get the same thing. Okay, we do. That's fine. Now, what I'm going to do is we'll just try and figure out why this is happening. Okay, so let's see. On our cube, we have a box collider. We have a move script and a gravity simulator. Okay, so on our rigid body, let me just check something quick. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so let's try this. If we add on our cube, let's add some mass of 1, drag of 1, angular drag of 1, I guess. And then let's play this and see. Let's get rid of our rotation because we don't really need to worry about that for now. We'll deal with that later. And also we want the cube to rotate later on. But clearly this is not working. Why does our cube keep falling? So our cube still runs fine, but clearly the, what's it called? We have a problem with our gravity. That's strange because I've done the exact same thing in the other project that I'm working on and it seems to be working. So let's just enable that. Okay, so that's not gonna work. But anyway, what's the time? 16 minutes. Okay, so let's work on something else and I'll figure that out later. So what platforms do we have? At the moment we have a butter platform, we have end platform, moving platform, orange platform, which I believe is just a normal platform as well as the red one, and then we've got our starting platform. So let's create another platform, and that one could, what's on the board? Up and down platform. That should be similar to our moving platform, but instead of moving from left to right or right to left or whatever side to side it is, it's going to act like a lift. So eventually in the game we'll have multiple levels within a level, if that makes sense. So you start on probably the top level and then work your way through the level, and then the start level could probably be on the top level or the bottom level, but I don't think we'll do that in today's episode. So in fact, we'll end this episode here, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a demo of what this game is actually going to be like. So this is the game that we're working on now, but only the version that I've been working on in my free time. So it's made for mobile. Let's just put this in here so we can see it. So here's the game. At the moment it's set up for iPhone 12 screen because that's the phone that I run it on. But if we go and play the game, what scene are we in? Okay, let's go back to another scene. Menu scene. Okay, so this is the menu scene that I've got. Everything is just temporary for now, so all the UI and stuff is not real, or I mean it's real, but it's not final. So here you can see eventually we'll have a version of, I don't know if I'm going to be doing this in the game that we're making together, but eventually I will probably put this game, if it eventually becomes like an enjoyable game to play, I'll probably release it on itch.io or something like that, or maybe even the App Store if it gets to that point. But eventually I would want this game to either have one of these two or both of them. So the first one is going to be a level screen, so you have a list of levels that you can play. So obviously you start at the beginning, and as you complete the first level, the second level will unlock itself. So you can't just skip to the last level and play that one. You have to go from the first level all the way through. The next version is going to be a random one. So because there's only so many levels that I can personally make myself, but before getting bored of it, and I would want to eventually release a version where you click a random button like this and it literally generates a random level for you to play. That's a lot more complicated because you have to build like an algorithm that makes each level. So that's far later down the line. So let's go and play the game. So here we've got our level screen, and I haven't actually implemented this. I've just put a button there that says 1 to actually start the first level. But I believe we have a bunch of different levels. I think we only have about 4 or 5 levels. So let's start it. So this is the first level. Also ignore that bug there. But this is the first level, and all you have to do is move the cube. Okay, so hold on. At the moment, this is set up for running on an iPhone. So let me just update this quick. Just have to comment out a few lines, as well as uncomment out another few lines. Okay, so if we go and run this game again, it should work now. So if we start again, go to the first level, you can see that the cube now starts on the starting platform, and because this is level 1, it's very simple. All you have to do is move from the one side across to the other side. And if we go to the next one, you can see the level is slightly more complicated. And what we were trying to work on today is the gravity. So if I go off of the platforms, you can see that the cube now falls down and then it hits that trigger box, which is... Actually, you won't see it because it's in the game scene, but there is a box underneath it somewhere, probably like 4 units down below the actual level, something like that, that when it hits it, it actually triggers the game to reload. Not the game to reload, but to reposition the cube back onto the start position. So if we go through this game, you can see that we have to solve this level. So in order to get to the finish point, which is obviously the checkered flag platform, you have to go and press this button, otherwise you can't make it across. So if you go through that platform there, you eventually fall down, and if you stand on the button platform, that now moves the moving platform into position, which completes the platform and also completes your route. Then it triggers the next level, and then this. Okay, so in this level, this is what I was talking about, multiple levels. So you can see we have a level on top of another level, and what you have to do is you stand on this platform, it moves you down, and then you have to complete the level. But again, you have to go and press the button, which now moves this platform into place, and then you can go and complete the level. This one now brings you back up to the top level, which then allows you to complete the level by standing on the checkered flag. So this is another level that I was working on, and just for now, ignore the way that this game looks, because like I said, I'm just trying to get the functionality working. And then once everything is working nicely, we'll start working on redesigning how it all looks, because it looks terrible. Also, I was trying to experiment with fog to be amongst the platforms to try and make it look cool, but clearly that didn't work, so I just made it different colors. But yeah, this is another level that I'm working on. So the objective of this level is, as you can see, I was only working on this yesterday, so it's not quite working correctly. But the objective of this cube here, the white one I'm talking about, is going to be to move the cube into the correct position, and that position would be over here. So as soon as you push it over the edge in the correct, assuming it's in the correct position, that will then allow you to complete the platform, not the platform, the level. So at the moment it doesn't work, so you can't really complete this level. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the idea of this game. So we probably won't be taking it that far in this game. We'll probably just make a few levels, and then that will probably be it for this game. And then yeah, I'll just keep giving you updates on the actual one that I'm working on in behind the scenes. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. So sorry for the pretty much a waste of a video, because I probably should have planned this one so we could actually get things done. But yeah, I need to go and look up how to do that gravity thing, because it's clearly not working in this game, but it's worked in the other one I just showed you. So I need to go and figure out why that is, and then I will correct it in the next episode. So thanks for watching again. If you made it this far, please go ahead and like the video, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I will see you in tomorrow's episode. So enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye.